can someone explain to me how this boss man got in here then? There's literally nowhere he can spawn. Even down here, right? There's no way he can spawn that I know of. And there's no way he can get in because the door's only open to me. Strange. You have got to be joking. There is literally one spot in this entire house he can spawn. And he did. What is the odds in that? Alright, that's my bad. I didn't know this spot existed. Alright, problem solved. Alright, what's going on, guys? Hope you're having a great day. So today I need to catch you guys up on what I did on Monday. Apologies there was no video yesterday. I had IRL plans, if you believe that or not. I actually went outside for once, so I was unable to record this. But it's absolutely fine. I can catch you guys up now, hopefully. And then there'll be... Oh, lucky guys. Like, there's going to be 2 videos in a row. Like, imagine that. Okay, so what I did was I set out to improve my power generation. And so what I did was I built a cactus farm and I added a second tree farm. So now we're growing 4 types of trees. Over here we have birch and dark oak. And then here we have oak and spruce, as always. That is unchanged. And while these 2 farms are, you know, they're incredible. I'll show you the storage in a second and how it's looking. These 2 are doing amazing. The potato and carrot farm is sound as always. But the cactus farm has let me down somewhat. I remember making one of these in the last server, and I think I've made them in like single player as well. And they've always been okay, but this is producing hardly any cactus, right? So for perspective, I built this Monday. At time of recording, it's Thursday. And it's been chunk loaded. It's been chunk loaded the entire time. And nothing's pulling out of this chest. This is like where all the items go. It's only produced about 2.5 stacks of cactus in 3 days of being chunk loaded. And I need like, I don't know, one every few seconds? Or, I'm not actually sure what the timing is on the bioreactor, but I need more than 2.5 stacks, you know, in 3 days. So I'm pretty much just keeping this here for a while, letting it, you know, actually get me some cactus, which I can use for other things, such as the plastic maker dye thing it needs. But yeah, I won't be using it for the bioreactor. You can also see the bioreactor's moved. It's now in my basement, and I'll talk you through that change soon, later in the video. But yeah, I think instead of cactus, I'm actually going to grow flax instead. This is actually pretty nice. I didn't realize flax seeds could go into the bioreactor, and I pretty much tried it on a whim, and it worked. So I feel like this is going to be our 7th item, I believe. I think we have 6 here, and then this will be our 7th. And then I am still yet to find 2 more. I think I'm going to go into Pam's Harvest Craft, maybe? Or I might try melons and pumpkins. I'm not too sure. I could go either way. But I'm going to automate this. I think what I'm going to do, I have a good reason to believe, and that reason is Jovic told me this, that I only need the plant gatherer, right? Jovic believes the plant gatherer will pretty much use right-click behavior on plants, which means it will do this, right? It will keep the original seed there, and it will harvest the seeds in the string. I hope. Which is, if that's the case, it's very nice. It means I don't need to, you know, replant. So that could be perfect. And then down in the first basement in the house, we've made a few changes. Basically, it was really bugging me how this like wall of barrels was, I think it was about here. I think the wall went like this, right? So basically, I decided to push the wall back. Basically, this came as I needed to add more barrels, and I wanted to add storage buses on these barrels, right? This is all part of why we moved the bioreactor and such. So I wanted to add storage buses on all of the barrels, and basically it was quite a big change, and I decided it was either then or never to move the barrels back, right? Just because of how much effort it would be to move it afterwards. So yeah, basically picked up all the barrels, pushed the wall back, moved the ender IO conduits behind it, and then yeah, we've got this nice little looking wall here. I'm not sure how I feel about this, right? I kind of wanted like a feature wall of barrels, but it doesn't go all the way. And it's off center in the basement as well, and that is purely because I didn't want to be like clambering like, you know, over this stuff here to try and get stuff out of barrels if I needed to, as opposed to using AE, I guess, to get stuff out. So yeah, I've kept it like this for now, and I do kind of like it, but at the same time I do kind of want to put barrels all the way to here. I'm not sure how I feel about it, but I kind of like this. It's not terrible. Sadly though, because this is like right under like the house, I guess, this right here, this dirt can't be replaced because it's here, right? And it would look weird to have like oak planks on the floor outside. So if anyone knows a way to have like a block which is grass on top and oak on the bottom, and you know, only takes up 1 block space, let me know. It'd be really appreciated. I hope it's the thing where you can like split a block in half, like the bottom half looks like 1 block and then the top half looks like the other. That'd be sick. That would be perfect for this situation. If not, I think what I'm gonna do, because my basements expand out way beyond my like house, is like the footprint on, you know, ground level is tiny, but the basements underneath are actually quite big. I kind of want to expand out this building. I want to redo it. Maybe not similar style to that, but you know, kind of a nice building here. I think could be really nice. I also need to start working on putting stuff here. Like, there's nothing here. There's just my terminals. Everything else doesn't really get used. I mean, I guess there's my armor stand, there's my trophy, my bed, some random junk chest which needs to go into AE2, a cauldron I use to make cheese for the rats mod, and then just the architect saw bench. So yeah, there's nothing really here. Yeah, I'm not sure what to do with this floor. But sorry, digress aside. I still need to push this wall back, and I think that would be the final size of this basement. Like, push this one back, or maybe expand out this wall by 3 blocks as well, so it's even on either side, and then we will know the footprint of the house to build above. And then I've also added another biofuel generator here. We pretty much consistently have 6 items in the bioreactor every time. And I've only added 1 since that change. I think I can add more, but I'm not quite sure what the numbers are until it's maxed out. So when we're putting 9 items into the bioreactor, I know exactly how many generators to have. Until then, I'm not quite sure. So I'm just going to leave it as is for now. It's absolutely fine. We have 200 KRF being stored. Wait, no, sorry. That is completely wrong. We have 200 million RF being stored. And we can access 100 KRF per tick. So our power is... Well, the power storage is great. It's the power generation we need to work on. And we are getting there. Okay, so over in this corner here, we have the bioreactor. Now, the reason why we moved everything is basically because the bioreactor was having issues, right? Well, this is more of an issue with my setup, and I was a bit dumb. But basically, the bioreactor didn't have any buffer, really. And basically, what was happening was... So, items would go into the planters first, then into the reactor, and then if they couldn't go into the reactor, they'd go into the barrels here, right? The issue was, I tried setting it up so, like, the barrels were like a mid-destination, as well as a final destination, if that makes sense. So basically what I wanted was to use the barrels as a buffer, to then be pulled out of again, to go into the bioreactor. But then also, if they had nowhere to go, I wanted them to go into the same barrel. And that didn't really work. We ended up with like a to and fro system. Items kept being pulled out, put into our like temporary chest we had up there, which I still have, and then going back again. And it was really gammy, and it wasn't a good, clean setup. It was working for a short amount of time, but it wasn't as good as I wanted it. So now what we're doing is... Items are being gathered by the gatherers. They go into the planters. If they can't fit in there, they'll go to the barrels. AE2 will then pull items out of the barrel, or barrels, and then export into here. So now we have a buffer in the barrels, and AE2 will be the deliverer, if that makes sense, between the barrels and the reactor. And I mean, I could have used Ender IO conduits between the barrels and here. And it would have worked fine, as long as they were separate, right? So if there was like one network where items flowed into the barrels and one network of conduits which pulled out of the barrels, that would have been fine. But for some reason, I kind of want everything within the base controlled by AE. I think it makes for a really nice setup. So everything internal in the base will be AE. Maybe items coming into the base will also be AE. But that can change. We can use different stuff for that. That allows us to do, like, utilize different mods, right? But this is very much an AE house, and this is very much an AE basement down here. There's a few changes, sorry. I'll explain them all in good time, don't worry. Yeah, so that's why I've done it. We've also got this buffer of biofuel now. This is actually quite a big tank. It's 3x3, and I believe it goes down 4 blocks. Oh, okay, we are experiencing some lag apparently. No, it's 3. Okay, so it's, you know, 3x3x3. So we have plenty of biofuel. I think each tank stores, oh, I broke 2. Yeah, 16 buckets, right? Or 16,000 millibuckets. So, yeah. Like, even if we stop producing biofuel for any reason, we still have a significant amount of biofuel here that the generators can pull out of. This is pretty much just a, you know, to secure the system, I guess, make it reliable. So yeah, if there's any issues with the farms or any issues with the reactor, we still have some time, you know. Like, we could turn off the farms, for example, and then because we have such a surplus of items, we would be kind of fine for quite a while. Like, the only item which would become an issue is dark oak. That would be used up pretty quick, and then birch, and then potatoes, and then carrots, right? But our oak and spruce is, like, fine. Like, we could pretty much reliably know we're gonna have 2 items in the reactor, even if we turn our farms off. So that's quite a nice safety net. One thing I forgot to mention though is I still use Ender.io conduits to transport the biofuel. So these conduits here, they're used to transport fuel from the reactor into the tank, and then completely separately there's this line of fluid conduits which will pull biofuel out of the tank and then put it into here. Oh, I just got confused by this, how there was no conduits, but I just realized they run underground. Yeah, so one thing I could do is I could start getting into AE fluid storage, and how like that works, if that makes sense. So like put like a fluid storage bus on the tank, on the Ender.io tank, and then have export buses on each of these. I feel like that's too many buses though. That would be, yeah, 27 export buses for these generators, well, when we get to that. So that might be way too many channels and it's worth it. So I think this might stay for now, if not forever, because that's a bit mad. Like right here, we're using 16 channels for storage buses, which isn't too bad. Like, I feel like item storage buses are really worth it because it saves, if you know you're gonna have, you know, almost 2 million of one item, it's worth using a storage bus for that, right? Because it doesn't take up drive space then. Like, we would need so many 64k drives to store this, and that's just one of these 16 items. And by the way, ignore these 2. Basically, I made 2 more barrels than was needed. For the moment, we will need these 2. If not, we will need another column here of them. But because there was nothing for me to put in there, I tried locking the barrels, but the barrels didn't quite go for it, and then items ended up going into here. And I just decided to leave it for now. But this will be all food / farming items. So yeah, ignore this for now. And just to wrap up the power segment of this video, I forgot to mention this. This is part of my power change I did in the last video, where I said that I had 2 things to mention, but I only mentioned one. I mentioned the energy cells. I was also meant to mention this. My Flux network now has its own storage. So basically, Flux networks are very nice for their potentially infinite power transfer. And you know, we got my plug here which supplies the network with power. It's connected to a cryo-stabilized flux duct, so that gets potentially infinite power, right? But I also wanted to store power within this mod because I don't know, I just quite like it. It's nice. I like having different storage. As you can see, like, I've got bloody energy cells everywhere. I like storing power. I don't want to, you know, after all those issues we had at the start of the server with my network turning off and not having power and all the rest of it, yeah, I'm making sure I store like energy everywhere, and I'll make sure each subsystem gets its own power, and you know, it's a madness. So as part of that, I'm also making sure the Flux network has its own power storage. Okay, so let's move away from power and let's talk about rats very quickly. I actually found out some very useful information from Umphy, and he told me these rats, they spawn on garbage piles, right? Which I didn't actually know, and I think that was me kind of being an idiot. So I eventually found, I think it was 3 rats. The first 2 were male. I got quite unlucky. And then the third one was female. And, you know, I tamed them, brought them back. It took me a few in-game days to tame them, sorry. And then they've been breeding away in this cage. I believe there's only 5 of them here, though. And basically, I think there's still 1 female and 4 males. Which I think is stopping us from breeding more. Or maybe it's because the cage is quite small, so maybe I need to expand it. I'm not too sure. But basically, we can now get into like rats, automation, and all good things with these. The issue is, though, I don't actually need them for what I wanted to do. It turns out I wasn't asking the right questions, right? I was assuming if I wanted to do what I wanted to do, I had to, you know, I had to start the mod. I had to get into rats and all the rest of it. Although, it turns out all I needed, well, not all I needed, but what I needed was one of these, a chunky cheese token. This opens a portal to Ratlantis, which is, within Ratlantis, it's a new world, or dim, I think they're called in game. And basically, the things I want are there. And in order to get these, you either have to kill rats, you don't have to tame them, you have to kill them for in 1 in 10,000 chance, or you can come over here and you can buy one. So that's what I've actually already got one, I believe. If I just double check in here, I can't spell. Yeah, I already have one. So what I'm gonna do is next stream, which I believe will be tomorrow, I'm gonna put down that portal somewhere, and yeah, I'm gonna head over to Ratlantis and start, you know, getting into the stuff I want to get into. And yeah, that was what this basement was originally going to be for. But yeah, it's quite hard. So it's going to be fun. It's going to be a nice little project. I think what I'm going to do is square away the power generation. I've got a few things I want to do, like upgrading these machines, upgrading the mechanism, auto-crafted machines, upgrade this generation better, like accelerate it all. And yeah, then we'll get into that whole path of stuff. Okay, so quickly, since I, you know, pointed out these machines, I may as well talk about what they're doing. I believe these 2 machines are new, the 2 crushing factories. I think I added them on Monday. Basically, what I'm doing is I'm throwing in cobble here, and I'm getting out sand. So what you do is you put cobble in this crusher, and you get gravel. This then automatically transfers to this crusher. Actually, I could probably show you. It might be better. Here we go, let me just do 10. Okay, these machines are very slow, by the way. So as you can see, 10 cobbles in here. This will process into gravel. That will then get automatically transported to this via like their integrated side configurations. And then this will crush the gravel into sand. So this is like our automatic sand generation. And then over here, we have a smelting factory, which will turn sand into glass, which we've had for some time. But sand has always been an issue. But finally, we're now making sand. And then here we have our giant wall of molecular assemblers and interfaces. Now, here there are 14 interfaces, and I've lost track of how many molecular assemblers. I only know how many interfaces there are because I've kind of counted, and also the system tells me. But the assemblers are hard to count because I can't actually see some of them. Like, for example, these interfaces that are behind, they have interfaces behind them as well. Sorry, they have molecular assemblers behind them as well. So each interface, I believe, actually, except for the top 2 only have 5 assemblers. The other 12 will have 6 assemblers on each, surrounding them. So 1 on each side. So we have a lot of assemblers. I guess you could do, actually no, I was going to say 14 times 6, but that doesn't work because, for example, they're not unique, if that makes sense. So like, for example, this molecular assembler here is actually shared by 5 interfaces at the moment. And that's kind of what I'm going for. I want, you know, each assembler to have access to a lot of patterns, and I want each interface to be able to use a lot of assemblers to to craft each pattern. I should probably note that this is going to keep growing. Like, I'm just going to keep adding to this, and it's probably not going to be worth mentioning in many videos, because yeah, I'm just going to keep adding to it. So if you see this is expanded, basically more interfaces, more assemblers, faster crafting is like more patterns I can craft, and they will craft faster hopefully. If I ever get around to putting acceleration cards in these, I'll highlight that, because that will be quite a big thing, because there's a lot of assemblers and some of them are very hard to reach. So I think I might have to tear it all down if I want to do that, or I might just speed up the ones I can see. But anyway, over here on the left hand side of the basement, we have 2 new multi-blocks. As you can see, we did add Railcraft, and now I finally have the coke oven, and getting stuck. And I also have the blast furnace. Now as you can see, this isn't quite keeping up. We're not producing coal coke quick enough, and this blast furnace sits idle for quite a while. So what I might have to do is add a second coke oven, maybe here, and you know, get that coal coke production going. Sadly though, as we've just seen, we are running out of coal, so I'm gonna have to go move the digital miner and start mining for coal again. Because yeah, that's not quite good. This should be full. But as you can see, we're also exporting tin cans into here. That is purely to bottle up the creosote oil, which I believe is needed for something. It's gone on crafting still, my bad. So we've got 165 of these. So yeah, I believe it's used for something within Railcraft, not sure what. One thing I've actually realized is the more useful thing is, I think it's called like yeah, slag. Basically this stuff is actually used to make cement, right? And now this recipe gets quite fun. It's used cement to make stone ties or reinforced concrete, and stone ties are like the bases of tracks, right? Stone ties make up stone rail bed, and then stone rail beds make high-speed track, high-speed electric track, and reinforced track. So yeah, we're gonna need a lot of that stuff. I also want to get into electric rails. These seem yeah, these seem great. Like, I reckon these would be a lot of fun. I'm also not too sure what concrete's used for. I haven't looked. Oh, it's just a building block, I guess. This might be nice to build like the surrounding area of the track with. But I'm also noticing we need rebar. Oh, that's just iron. Okay, that's not too bad at all. What I should probably mention though is, yeah, so this makes coal coke, and then the blast furnace uses coal coke and iron to produce steel. This is pretty much just a passive way of me getting steel, and getting steel from Railcraft, because there's multiple different kinds of steel in this pack. So as you can see, we've passively gained 163 steel ingots from these 2 multi-blocks, and then, you know, this is the steel ingot that I can auto craft using the alloy furnace. And I believe that leaves me with one tiny thing to mention before wrapping up. And that's this thing, the ME level emitter. What this does is it looks in your storage, it looks everywhere that's connected to the storage. And it looks for how many of either an item or a fluid you have in your system. And it will output a redstone signal based on that behavior, right? Or based on how many of that item it has. So I've currently set it to output a redstone signal if there is less than 120 obsidian in the system, right? So if I put that to 130, we have like 122, I believe. So this is now on, right? Which then sets this import bus to activate. So we have a redstone card in here, which means this import bus is upgraded to deal with redstone signals. And it says only activate when there's a redstone signal. So this level emitter outputs a redstone signal to this import bus. And as you can see, this will keep 64 obsidian in here. But because now it's full, this machine is paused. It won't do anything. And then also this import bus isn't, you know, extracting items out of here and storing it, because it's not active due to the redstone signal. Alright guys, and with that, I have caught you all up with what I did on Minecraft Monday. As I said, I will be playing again tomorrow. So what I might do is make the video at the end of the day instead, because I probably won't play Minecraft again now until tomorrow, right? So tomorrow morning I might not have much to cover. If I play in the morning off stream, then I might make something, but whoops. What I think might be a better idea is to stream Minecraft and then make the video either Saturday, or yeah, make it late in the day. Knowing me, it would probably be Saturday, and then next week we'll be back on the schedule. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this. Take care, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye, guys.
Are we gonna play now? Ready for the show? I'm about to take down, you already know. Get the fuck out of my face now, yeah, you gotta go. Man, I'm on the chase now, leave me on my own. I got a chance to break now.